Pallavi, I think we can start.
Yes, yes, ma'am. A very good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Pallavi Chaudhary, Associate Professor in the Department of Pharmaceutics, and I extend a warm welcome to you all for day 3 of the National Webinar Series on Regulatory Affairs. This webinar is organized by the IQAC of Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Pharmacy in collaboration with Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Principal and Convener Dr. N.S. Vyavhare Sir and our co-convener Dr. Shilpa Chaudhary Ma'am of this webinar series and express my sincere gratitude for their guidance, visionary outlook and continuous support in making this series a great success. I would like to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to the organizing team for their efforts in conducting this webinar series. I hope you have all been enjoying the sessions so far and finding them insightful and engaging. So, before we begin the session, I would like to share a few instructions. All participants are requested to keep themselves mute throughout the session. Submission of the feedback form and completion of the quiz is mandatory to receive the e-certificate. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box. We will address them during the question answer session at the end. So before we move ahead, I would like to respectfully invite our Honorable Principal Sir and convener of this national level webinar series to address this gathering. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I am happy to be a part of this third webinar in the series pertaining to the regulatory affairs, which is considered to be a most important part in today's industry. We know that every time there are certain changes, amendments that are taking place in the regulations with respect to the food as well as the drug. It may be a need of our, or it may be a outcome of certain instances that are taking place in the field. And hence, I think that this is the most revolutionary field and one need to be updated at each and every time. The person who is working on the field is the right person who can guide all of us with respect to the current requirement and contemporary needs. Today's session is special for all of us, not just because the speaker is an expert of the field, but the speaker is alumni of our college. And I think in teacher's life, when this circle completes, that our students participate as a resource person and guide the teachers, there it is a completion of loop and also a matter of pride and proud for all the teachers. So I am happy that the Bora has spared the time from her busy schedule for her alma mater, and today she will be guiding all of us on the current aspects of regulatory field. The aspirants for the regulatory field, students of the post-graduation program of regulatory affairs must take this session as an guiding soul or a guiding light, because if you want to make a career in a regulatory affair, the first and foremost part is that you need to be updated with real time. And I think that this webinar series and the speakers with this expertise will be able to provide us the knowledge with respect to the real time, and that will be helpful. Once again, on behalf of Divya Patil College of Pharmacy, I welcome you all and extend my sincere thanks to Bora for sparing her time for today's session. Over to you, Dr. Pallavi.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring and thoughtful address. We are grateful for your continuous guidance and support in making this webinar series a meaningful learning experience for everyone. So now it is my privilege to introduce our esteemed speaker for today, Mrs. Priya Bora. She is a seasoned regulatory affairs professional based in Pune, over 14 years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry. She is known for her strategic and result driven approach, contributing significantly to regulatory strategy, compliance, and timely product approvals across European and rest of world markets. Currently, she serves as the head of regulatory affairs at Batavia Pharma Private Limited, where she leads regulatory strategy, submissions, and lifecycle management, working closely with the global partners and regulatory agencies. Her core expertise includes ECTD, dossier preparation, CMC oversight, deficiency management audit, and inspection readiness, including European Union GMP audits. She has held leadership roles at Batavia Exports International, managing CTD and ACTD dossier and supporting global regulatory submissions. She has also represented her organizations at international platforms such as CPHI Frankfurt and regulatory meetings across Europe. An alumni of Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Pharmacy, Pune, she brings strong expertise in global regulatory standards, including the ICH and EMEA guidelines. So please join me in welcoming Mrs. Priya Bora ma'am, who will be speaking on building a successful career in modern regulatory affairs, trends, technology, and global practices. Over to you, ma'am. We are very excited to learn from your insights.
Uh, Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session. And I'm very glad Principal Sir and Shilpa Ma'am has given me the chance to uh, uh, share my experience with everyone. So, can you? I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen is visible to everyone?
No, ma'am.
No.
Screen is not visible.
Oh, just a second.
Ma'am, if it's possible, you can share the PPT. I can share it from my end.
Okay, that will be good idea.
Yes, yes.
Just a second.
Or you can just click on the arrow and share entire screen. So whatever you'll be showing on screen, that will be visible.
No, actually, I'm unable to share my screen. I don't know why.
Okay.
Let me send my PPT to Pallavi ma'am. Did you get it?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, you can share it on the group or where you.
I have shared to you on your personal number.
Yeah. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Ma'am, just 1 minute. We'll be starting.
Yes, sir.
We'll be sharing the.
Yes, yes, no issues. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You can
Yeah.
start with your session.
Yeah. Once again, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's sessions. Uh, as already Pallavi had told that I have experience in regulatory affairs almost for 14 years, and mainly I have focus on European market and some earlier of my stage ROW market. So whatever experience I have got throughout the years, I will explain to you. I will try to give you my uh, industry experience to you guys, so that you can focus on your career and further future. So
Pallavi,
into
just make it presentation mode, please.
yes, yes.
Pallavi,
Go to the
sorry
presentation
for
mode.
sorry for interruption.
Ma'am, Chimbalkar slides.
No, go to the presentation mode.
Yeah.
I think we can start.
Yeah, ma'am. You can start.
Yeah. Yeah. So in today's session, I will not just cover theory, but also share practical insights from real industry experience, so that you can understand how regulatory actually works in day-to-day scenarios. Next slide, please. Let me quickly walk you through today's agenda. It's quite lengthy, but it's related to each and every topic. So I will try to cover up as much as possible. Uh, we'll start with how regulatory careers in industry 2026, then move into the AI in RA, and followed by EU submission strategies. And then we will go into the CTD and ECTD structure, how dossiers are actually compiled from tech transfer data. And finally, we will cover lifecycle management, including post approval changes for you and some brief about the US system. Ma'am, next slide, please. As many of you already know that pharma world is its world is changing. AI, digital tools like ECTD, softwares, global markets. But what is important is not just knowing this; it's understanding what it means for your career when you enter regulatory affairs. So next, let's start with the regulatory careers and how industry is evolving. Earlier, like when I joined, I have started my career in 2007. That time, regulatory was mostly seen as a documentation part, submission role. But today, it's become strategic function. Why is that? because companies are now across multiple regions like Europe, UK, then we'll go to US and then emerging markets, rest of the world. Timelines are tighter and authorities expect higher quality and consistency in the dossier. Now, next is how we'll see how submission are increasing globally, like increasing global submission. So when you join the industry, you may not work as a you may not work for India. You may work for handling EU market or US market or UK market or any ROW market like emerging markets. So companies are moving forward towards simultaneous global filing like US, UK, and emerging markets. For this all market, need is harmonization across the region. What is that harmonization means? But here is the challenge. What is exactly harmonization? Each region has its own regulatory expectation, and how company are managing to do the harmonization for the throughout the regions. Harmonization means aligning data, formats, and strategies. That one dossier can meet all the requirements for multiple regions with minimal changes. So company need to make a master or parent dossier, only parent dossier, and they can submit to various markets. Suppose a single any generic product you take, if I want to submit that product to multiple regions, like in Europe, also multiple countries are there. So, and in Europe also the Nordic countries and some regions, some countries have different guidelines, different their way of expectation from pharma companies. So to multiple agency at the same time, each with slightly expectation, this increases the complexity significantly. So, and this is where you come in as a regulatory professional. Your role is not just to prepare the documents or dossier. Your role is to think globally, understand the different regulation for various countries, and ensure that submission are consistent across the region. So next, now let's move to the second important shift is complex regulatory requirements. When you when you enter the regulatory affairs today, you are not expected to just follow guidelines. You need to follow guidelines, but what is that guidelines? You need to understand first what is that guideline exists, why certain regulatory decisions are made. For example, guidelines are continuously changing. So it's not enough to just read ICH guideline or EMA guidelines. Once you need to just stay updated, interpret how changes impact your product. That guideline, how will uh, you can use in your product. So there is a strong shift towards the risk-based thinking. You need to think logical thinking, and that guideline, how I can use in my product, how my quality of the product can change, or how I can take that guidance inputs for my product. So another major change, it's not longer enough to say this meets the guideline. You need to explain why your specification limits are acceptable, why your process is controlled or robust, why your product will remain stable throughout the life cycle. This means more scientific justification, not just compliance. And along with this guidance expectation, we need to look out for data integrity, transparency, have become much stricter in nowadays in European and US market. Regulators like agencies want traceable, complete, and reliable data at every stage. So, if I summarize here, this shift, regulatory affairs is no longer just about document submission. It requires scientific understanding, critical thinking, and the ability to make justify decision. So, in short, regulatory professionals today are scientific decision maker, not just to prepare the documents or set of the dossier or set of the tech transfer package. One example I will give here so you can correlate. If suppose one product is tablet and their dissolution limit is Q80 in 15 or 13 minutes, say. Earlier, we used to say it meets the official monographs, it meets the PHUR monograph, it meets the US monograph. But today, regulator asks why 80%, why not 75%, or why not 85%? How does this relate to your clinical performance? Means in vitro vivo performance. How your product is performing in vivo. So, and what happens if one batch is limit is goes to the 78%? Is your product is stable throughout the shelf life? Is it effective or is it safe? Like such questions we get from regulators. They just don't agree that yeah, I have given the limit of for dissolution so and so as per the monograph, but they need the justification, they need the development data. So we need to prove those development data. We need to mention to agencies like scientific justification. Yes, we have done the so many trials, we have taken this limit. For why we have taken this limit, we need to prove even RPM studies like 75 RPM, 50 RPM. Why we are going for paddle dissolution apparatus? Why not we are not going for basket apparatus? Such a question we in daily life we need to understand first. Whenever you draft the specification, you cannot just as a regulatory professional, or you have a PHR monograph, yeah, US or BP monograph in front of you, and you cannot just mention the those limit in your specification. You need to give the justification of specification, why you are doing why you are defining such a limits. So just give me thumbs up. Anyone thinking it's our role is a documentation or was just a decision making? If you are agreeing with me, it's a decision making. Give me thumbs up. Yeah. Now let's talk about previous slide, ma'am, please. Hello, Pallavi, ma'am. Previous slide, please. Yes. And next shift is RA in 2026 is faster timeline. Faster timeline means there is increasing pressure from regulatory agencies to make medicine available in the market for patient immediately. So, and even industry competition is very high. Companies was first to market advantage, especially for generics and innovative products. If you will not follow the timelines, uh, you cannot get market scenario what you have done during the start of the project. That scenario is changing nowadays is very quickly. Even timeline for deficiencies later or queries from the agencies, um, they need some quick response from MA holder. So sometimes, if a procedure is end of the procedure, just 10 15 days are remaining for the approval of the product. Sometimes agency give such a question, that questions we have to answer, not even week. We have to respond in days, 1 to 2 days. So like that, timelines are very strict nowadays. And it's happened during COVID-19 also. We saw approvals happening in months. I will say instead of years, this has permanently changed expectations. So, what does this mean for you as a regulatory professional? You need to be fast but accurate. You need to be responsive to queries, and you need to be able to work under tight timelines and without compromising quality. So today's speed is critical, but quality cannot be compromised. That balance in the real challenges in modern regulatory affairs have to be maintained. And now look at next major transformation which we are currently facing, that digital transformation or digitalization in regulatory affairs. Earlier, regulatory work was very heavy document, means paper submission, or need to prepare the full dossier manually. Then Word file, need to prepare Word file. Then that Word file need to be convert to the PDF and then go to the submission. It's like that. It's a manual work, a lot of manual work, and error can be could be happened in that situation, in pressure situation. But today that is changing, due to the digitalization, or you can say AI. Uh, you might not always prepare full dossier yourself. Systems like different documentation nowadays in the market, QO is one of most important softwares ongoing QO documentation. That software, you will get how your presentation should be for your particular section of the dossier, how you can present, how you can give the table of content. It will give you automatically. You no need to give the every time the styles or fonts, or just you do the prepare the template, and you add the content that automatically replace whatever template has fixed for such a submission. Even ECTD softwares like PharmaReady, Lawrence, and AI tools will support, definitely will support you nowadays. So main as a regulatory professional, your role is shifting towards, mainly due to this digitalization, mainly not only documentation but reviewing data, making decisions, and ensuring quality of the product and safety of the product. So understand, friends, here. Uh, so many people are thinking, now AI is coming. What will happen to the regulatory field? But I will say regulatory is moving from document-based submission to data-driven submission. Just instead of just uploading documents, we are now managing structured data. So nowadays, European agency is working on one of system, that is SPOR. SPOR is means basically, it's a S for substance, P for product, and O for organization, and R for referentials. That is, they are working on that system where SPOR is a centralized database, uh, where all key regulated data like drug substance, drug product, companies data, or MA holder data in standard terms are stored in a structured and consistent way in that system. So one of new innovation they are doing at their end. And globally, there is a push toward IDMP. IDMP is identification of medicinal product, which means defining medicine in a structure consistent way across the region. So these are mainly European. Nowadays, I'm focusing mainly the SPOR and IDMP standards. Still, we are not using practically in our company, but they are agencies are like European EMA. They are introducing these systems. Next slide, please, ma'am. Uh, Now that our favorite topic that we understand how the regulatory field is evolving, let's look at one of the biggest driver of this change. It is artificial intelligence. Uh, when we talk about the future of regulatory affairs, nowadays one topic that always comes up is artificial intelligence. Many people think AI will replace regulatory professionals, but I don't think so. The reality is quite different in day to day life. AI is not replacing regulatory affairs; it enhancing how we work. It helps reduces manual effort, then improve accuracy and allow us to focus more on decision making rather than repetitive task. Repetitive task means like as a regulatory professional, I need to make dossiers, I need to make the specification, I need to every time I need to make the specification, justification of specification, I need to every time type the stability data. So this repetitive task, which take a lot of time, that will definitely reduce our time. And in that, in where reduce our time, that times we can focus on main scientific topics like scientific justification or scientific drug product scenario. We can see. So how AI will help us in automated dossier writing. Uh, AI tools are now being used to support dossier preparation. For example, structure content. Like as I said, if I give template, I want this template to be followed fully for my product, for module 1 to module 5. Then AI will use that. AI will use that data again and again, and as I said, the drafting some sections. If I am confused between if I what I need to put in, suppose drug substance sections like 32S32 for the impurities or characterization of drug substance. That time, if I give some prompt to the AI tool, that time they will give you content. What exactly to be need to be put, what exactly you cannot add, or how you will get the comment if you write this or this not. So uh, but I still I'm feeling and still I'm facing the same. Even if we use the AI tools or digital softwares, but still our responsibility is as a RA professional for review and for quality of the product, what we are writing in the dossier. It's our responsibility, it's not AI responsibility. So even you use in your day routine based AI, but still we need to check what data or what content we have added in our dossier sections, different dossier sections. because our professional is directly related to the safety of the patient. So we cannot just rely on digital transformation. Next is smart QC and validation. AI can also support quality checks and validation, like if I have to compare the, if suppose some example, like I have to compare my specification with PHR monograph, my specification with my manufacturer specification with, so AI can identify what is exactly changed, what specification you have mentioned extra or additional. This type of checks we can do with QC validation, check formatting and data alignment, as I already told you. And sometimes it will reduce human errors, right, for typing errors mainly. And definitely it database. So this improves the submission quality and reduce the rework, and it will go in the structure manner. Another important area is regulatory intelligence. Regulatory intelligence means AI can help track like guideline updates. See, suppose some guideline has made changes recently, and I don't have that time to read that guideline. So I can compare. I can give the prompt that I need a summary of this guideline changes. So that definitely we can use. Sometimes we confuse with some reference product, what to use, which is available in the market. Like in Europe it's different, in US it's different, in MHRA it's different. So while developing the generic product, it's very difficult to get the innovator product. So get the innovator product and define or decide the which is the correct innovator. So that time also we can check, and this definitely this will help team stay updated and make decision faster. Next is submission tracking. Submission AI system will be integrated with regulatory tools and databases like ECTD publishing system and regulatory information management systems. Even AI can drive one system if you give the if specific AI tool is for your company, or some company have designed their own tool. That time they will give you submission status, timeline, and deadline. What is no need to go to the check the every time the Excel sheet or whatever mentioned in the diary. Or so definitely this improves planning and overall efficiency. But guys, understand this: the the role of regulatory affairs is shifting from manual execution to intelligent oversight and decision making. I will say our work is double now. We cannot just rely on AI. So for you as a future professionals, uh, you don't need to compete with AI. You need to learn how work with AI, because the value will come from understanding regulation, checking or validating data, and making the right decision. So, and definitely, I'm 100% sure throughout my experience, and nowadays in mostly in 2026, mm, we are now facing that AI is everywhere. So, but definitely, I'm sure AI will not replace regulatory professionals, but regulatory professionals who use AI will replace those who don't use AI. Means you need to go with flow like that. You need a scientific knowledge. You need a digital knowledge uh, to for the life cycle of the product for the in a structured way. Going forward, submission will become more driven and integrated. like agencies or any regulative professionals will focus on less on manual works or manual typing and more on strategy and decision making and how I will get approval as quick as possible. This improves accuracy, reduces human error. Looking looking ahead for next slide please ma'am. Yes. We will see more structured data submission. Now you can see EMA is working on the ECTD version from 3.2 to the 4.0 and integration with system like SPOR and IDMP. Even even in US also, I saw they are working on some system like ELSA, but still I'm not sure about this. But I heard in so many webinars that US FDA has started their AI tool like ELSA, where they can use for the safety of the product. So basically, a regulatory professional will spend less time on manual work and more time on strategic thinking. So everyone will think, what is the future with regulatory with in AI, or regulatory with AI? So the future of regulatory is not less opportunity; it's a higher responsibility, and it's directly with safety of the patients. AI will do the work, but regulatory professionals will drive the decisions. You can take the decision, you can give the various ideas to your organization. So, as already I have mentioned about the some agencies like US FDA, EMA, UK, even UK agency is exploring for AI innovation, UK MHRA, the Medicine and Healthcare Product Regulatory Agency. It's exploring AI innovation pathways and regulatory efficiency, but most applications are still at a very early stage. Even other than these countries, other countries like rest of the world, even trying those tools or on they are taking the trials for those tools. Even even India, yeah, our FDA, our CDSCO, they are yeah, under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. They are collaborating with CDSCO to leverage of AI to streamline the regulatory review and expedite the decision. Even that means it's happening in India also. So, understand, friend, the future of regulatory is not less opportunity, it's a higher responsibility. And just I will say, and I will feel every day like regulatory is now proactive, not reactive. So, RA professional need to be the digital plus strategic plus scientific skills. So, honestly, this is a great time to enter the regulatory affairs. I will say you guys are very lucky. You are getting so many opportunities like digital, strategic. So, at that start of my career, this opportunity was not available. But you guys really are lucky. And honestly, this is a great time even to enter the regulatory affairs, because if you build the right skills now, you can grow much faster than the previous generation. As I said already, you can learn things fast, and I will say your generation is too quick, too quick. So in 2026, the expectation from regulatory professional have evolved significantly, and this is directly linked to the how pharmaceutical industry itself is changing. Let's connect with the industry trends. So, industry trends means if today companies are not just looking for someone who understand the regulation, they expect professionals like us to have multi-regional expertise like EU expertise, UK expertise, US expertise, ROW market expertise. There is also strong importance like life cycle management because approvals are just the beginning. The real challenge is managing variation, renewals, post-approval changes efficiently for the any product. As a MA holder, I cannot just get the approval of any product, and I will already I am working so so many years for the same product. I'm developing the product, I'm making the various batches, I'm doing the bio studies, and I'm submitting the dossiers to various countries, and then and I get the approval. And if I do not if um, I have not done anything for that product like in market for sale or market scenario, that will not help us. So real challenge to keep that product active, the life cycle management expertise, how you will will discuss in next slides the variations and everything in detail. uh, so this is the actual industry trend, multi-regional expertise, life cycle management, and even strategic decision thinking. And already we are discussed digital plus AI readiness. So, understand overall the role is no longer limited to preparing documents. It has evolved into strategic technology, and I will say technology enabled function that directly supports business growth and the faster market access. So, actually, I don't remember I have covered in the agenda this topic or not, but this is some related to industry trend only. So, I am taking these career opportunities. So, many of you will soon face an important question: where should I start my career? Pharma companies or contract research organization as a CRO or regulatory consultancy? And you will often hear people say this is the best option. Everyone says, even I will say the best option, this is the best option. They say based on their experience, but I will suggest why you think, why do I say that? Because but each path, if I'm saying the pharma manufacturer or CRO or regulatory consultancy, have different roles throughout their management of the work, and you will get the different approaches and different type of growth and exposure for your work. So if you see in the pharma company, you will work on specific products for for specific department, uh, or defined profile or portfolio. In many I used to take so many interviews. In interview I see like candidates have lot of knowledge, but they are doing same job for very long years, so they don't get idea of each cycle of the regulatory stage. It's a regulatory is very vast and very interesting, I will say. So in pharma company, you will work with different departments like R&D, QA, production department, or QC department, supply chain, purchase. So pharma company define different portfolio or different profile. So if you will stay longer time in any pharma company, so over time you will strong ownership and depth where in that company. Whereas in CRO, like contract research organization, the environment is very dynamic. I will say very, even it's a regulatory professional. Our role is very dynamic actually. So in CRO based companies, will get to work with multiple clients, different products, different markets. So that gives you exposure to various regulatory strategies, faster understanding of different dossier types, and strong adaptability skills. And next is consultancy. In consultancy, the focus shifts more toward strategy rather than execution. They're consulting. If suppose I am a one consultancy and you guys are giving me one product to compile or publish my dossier, so that my role will be till that date. So execution, what happened with that product as a consultant, I will not get to know as a consultancy company. But still, nowadays they are working in various portfolios. And if consultancy, then you may be involved in regulatory planning, as I am consultant, you will ask me how we can submit this dossier, which market is market entry strategy, where my product will be high or in the market. So and even different markets, so complex problem solving for global submission. This gives you higher level exposure, interaction with different stakeholder, different MA holders, understandings of their understanding why decision are made, why they are chosen this product. So look all three career opportunity. Best option depends on what you want to learn, how fast you want to exposure, and what type of role suits you. Instead of asking, I will say, instead of asking which is the best, ask which is best for me. And this stage of my career, there's no single best option, I will say, because each path builds different skills. The right choice depends on your career goal. However, it usually requires strong experience first. It's not always the starting point of for pressure. Or what matter is not choosing the perfect path, but choosing the right starting point for your learning style. So, if as a fresher, if you want to join some new organization as a first job, that first job does not define your entire career, but it does define how fast and in what direction you are growing. So many students or many my colleagues or my junior colleagues ask such a question like, how do I actually build a career in regulatory affairs? Uh, the answer is not complicated, but it requires a right sequence of learning and experience. So how to get there? I will say start with the CMC. CMC is a chemistry manufacturing controls, or start with the then main focus on the drug substance, drug product everywhere. What is the chemistry of that product? What is manufacturing? What is control for that product? If my product will go in the market, and publishing. So typically, your career should be begin with the CMC documentation. You need to know the base. You cannot do the directly ECTD submission. Just if I am a science background person, I am a pharma graduate person, and I know the theory behind the molecules and everything, and just I will say. in day-to-day life, digitalization is growing, so I can join the directly ECDT part. But it's depend individual to individual. But I feel you need to start for the CMC documentation. You need to learn what is CMC, what is, because we have spent so many years in our studies, and we cannot just left behind that CMC documentation part. So mainly understand the dossier structure. Then they understand the dossier structure, in which section which data will go. So how then how submission are compiled, get exposure to real regulatory documents. Thi- think of this that as you are a foundation stage. This is a very foundation stage, like review the documentation, review the BMRs, review the batch manufacturing records, process validation record. You will get different idea from those documents, like stability protocols. Even sometimes it's feel it's a repetitive task. Why I do the same reviewing of the BMRs and documents, like manufacturer documents. Why I can check, why I can do the same. I am the regulatory person. But where you build accuracy, if you check the repetitively those documents, where you will build accuracy, discipline, and attention to detail, which are critical in regulatory affairs. Okay, and next is once your basics are strong, your foundation is strong. The next step is to expand your original knowledge. Regional knowledge means different agency, try different, learn different agencies guidelines, like Europe, UK, US, or any other countries. So so this is where you move from doing task to understand regulation globally. So the skills is highly valued in the industries. Next is gain life cycle experience. As I earlier mentioned, just take the approval and keep product as it is, and for after some time, or after some 5 years, agency will ask for sunset clause. And they will, if in European agency, if in 2026 if my product is registered, and if I will not market that product in 5 years, agency will give me letter for sunset clause. It's a sunset clause means I have not marketed that product. And even, guys, uh, when a European agency comes for approval in your sites, like in manufacturing unit, they check how many products we have market in that market. Why I'm coming for inspection for that company. In my previous company, in 2017 they got the UGMP approval, but after that, in lockdown period in 2020, they unable to market that product or unable to submit that product. So when they come in 2022 for inspection, they had literally put this topic or this question in our findings, as so and so company has not marketed product from from 2017 or 2022 2022. So after approvals, the real work begins, this life cycle management. You need to handle the variation, you need to do the renewals of the product, and post approval changes is related to the variation. And this we are going to speak afterwards in detail. So this stage teaches you how to manage product long term, how to deal with the regulatory challenges. Next to the move to the strategy roles. So in strategic roles, you are not just executing that. You are planning the submission, deciding regulatory pathways, and supporting business decision. This is where regulatory becomes a leadership function. So, if I simplify this journey, I will say start with the execution, move to the understanding, and build ownership. Then step into the strategic role. You just don't need to rush into the strategic roles. Focus on building first strong fundamental first, why this theory has behind, why what is development has done, what studies in the development report has done. So understand the theory behind the product, and then go in the strategic roles. That because these fundamentals will differentiate you in the long run. So already I have mentioned that regulatory is very interesting, and every day it's a learning stage for everyone. So the regulatory journey, where depth of knowledge and practical experience matters more than speed. But if you build it correctly, growth is very strong. So if I say I will show like ladder, it's a foundation first, then growth, and then strategy. And next slide, please. Just I will. So now let's move to from tools to strategy. How do we actually plan submission in Europe and use strategies? In Europe, it's not just about submitting a dossier. It's about choosing the right strategy. That means product-based approach. Which product I need to choose? Generic product. What is market of this product? Then RMS selection. RMS selection means it's a reference member state. I will in next pathway. I will give you the examples. What is RMS and the CMS? Reference member means it will act as a main country as a main country for the submission if I want to go for the DCP procedure. And then market and life cycle thinking. Uh, you also need to think about the market and life cycle. Which country launch first? How to manage variation later? Which country have this potential of the product? How to maintain the product long term? Some agencies really work very slow, very slow. They don't bother our submission. They take their time. So we need to find out those countries where we can give our where we can submit our product and we can get immediate actions from the agency. So UV strategy is about choosing the right pathway, selecting the right RMS, and the planning for the full product life cycle. So in pathways, different pathways for submission. In Europe, there are mainly four pathways, submission pathways. Centralized CP is centralized procedure. DCP is decentralized procedure. MRP is mutual recognition procedure, and last is national. So, in CP, centralized procedure is used for innovative or specific product. One approval gives across means if I want to submit my innovative product, so I can do the centralized submission, and that will accessed or approved by all the European member states. And in DCP, yeah, in DCP, where mainly comes RMS and CMS. RMS is reference member state, and CMS is concern member state. When we choose the DCP procedure, decentralized procedure, so that suppose I choose the DCP, in DCP my main country, my RMS will be Sweden, suppose. And if I want my product in more countries, so I will choose the CMS, different CMS like Belgium, France, uh, Denmark, you say Portugal. So this comes under DCP, where we need RMS, we need CMS. The multiple in this procedure, the all the countries will review together. I mean, they DCP procedure have different timeline. If suppose I submit my product today, it's 1st May, right? So if my dossier is ready and I need to submit my product, so mine the clock will start like this, minus 14. Minus 14 means they will take actual 14 days to validate our dossier. If something is missing, if they will not go into the content, but just they will check which file is missing, is UGMP is available, or UKMHR is available or not. So they will check the mainly uh, files. So that time is minus 14 validation period. So after that, day 0, they will start our procedure, that is DCP. And after once they start, we'll get the queries at D70. D70 means D70 days. We'll get in 70 days RMS query, and then D100 will get the CMS queries. CMS queries will be different from the RMS. RMS do in detail review, and CMS will agree. If sometimes some agency if will not agree with some questions, they raise their concern member can raise their query. So this is a timeline. Even at D106, you get the clock period off. You if you need 3 months to solve the queries, to address the all the deficiency letters, you can get the extension of 3 months to 6 months. So accordingly, then again after 3 months at D106, the clock will start again, and these 106, D120, like that, D2010 will get the approval. So this comes under the all the timelines for the DCP procedure. And MRP is a mutual recognition. When the product is already approved in the market, if my product is approved in the Sweden market, and I want to expand in other countries like Germany, like France, then this procedure can be used. National procedure. National procedure is limited to the one country. If I need to file my dossier, if I have a more market in one country only, then I will go. Suppose it's a Netherlands, I need to file my dossier in Netherlands only. That time we can use the national procedure. So mainly CP is centralized, DCP is parallel. You can mm, submitted those various country. MRP is expansion or for your product, and nationally single country. And recently, as you heard about, I don't know, but recently means in uh, till 2020, the UK was part before Brexit. UK was a part of the European Union, but after that, UK has got separate after Brexit. So from 2021, we cannot combine or you cannot use UK in the DCP procedure. You have to file for MHRA different, means national procedure. It's now separate from the European Union, and it's a procedure, but it's throughout the life cycle of the management, we try to give you use this procedure. This is RUP. RUP means repeat use procedure. If my Sweden has already get approval, but I cannot change this my RMS country, but I need to add separate different countries. That is repeat use procedure. Repeat use procedure means my dossier is already approved and in Sweden, and that same dossiers I need to get approval in other another countries like Belgium, like France. So that time we use the repeat use procedures. The same data will go for that those countries. No, nothing will change. Sometimes we use the repeat use procedure. Ma'am, next slide, please. So now that we understand strategy, uh, look look at the foundation of every submission is the dossier, the common technical document or electronic common technical document. The case study format is standardized globally into 5 models: Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, and 5. It Module 1 is specific to each region, each country. They have different requirement, different submission, like documents required. Uh, in module 1 we give the SMPC, summary of product characteristics, labeling, how our carton will look. Then we do the if, as a patient, if leaflet is comes to me, we do the actual readability test. In India we don't bother about the leaflet, we throw that leaflet in the dustbin. But in other countries like Europe, they really read that leaflet, and for that leaflet is it very friendly to the patient. They can read in their language. We need to put various language. If Belgium, we need to add the Dutch language. If in Sweden it's Swedish, in Denmark it's Danish, we need to, that leaflet is so long, and we need to put that leaflet in the carton. So for that leaflet we need compulsory the readability testing has to be done by various European consultancy. We cannot do that testing in the with Indian patient. We need to do testing like bioequivalence study, which like in bioequivalence how we do the studies like that. For the repeat use for sorry readability test of leaflet we need to do at European stage. So different module 1 documents is required. And on module 2 is a summary of module 3. For you already learned this part in maybe in your first year first year M.Pharm, or as you have started your regulatory professional. It's summary of module 3 quality part, module 4 and 5 non-clinical and clinical. And in mainly we'll go to like in main part of the, as a quality person, main part is a module 3, where our drug substance details will go, manufacturing details, description and characterization, which impurity, manufacturing process, then specification, stability, what is retest period of I think you have learned in last session about the CEP, DMF. So if CAP, so if CEP is my drug substance is CEP grade, then I don't need to put every data in uh, under the 3 to S section that already assessed by educum. So no need to put every data. So here our role is come which data will go in this section. Next to the drug product. Drug product is formulation development. Main section is a 3 to P2, like a pharmaceutical development report. In pharmaceutical development report, how you will present that as per ICH guideline. You need to give the why you are selected the reference product, why how that reference product is I will say complying with your generic product, why this dissolution method has you have developed, what is discriminatory of nature. Then drug excipient compatibility study you have to give. Then come to the different trials, why you have trial one, why you have done the trial one, then why trial two, trial three, trial four, and why when you have finalized your optimization batch, like means optimization product, yeah, you can go to the mm, bigger batch. So in pharmaceutical development, everything will come like R&D stability data, then comparative resolution studies in various multimedias like zero point 0.1 normal SCL, 6.8, 4-point acetate buffer, how my product is releasing, and how it's comparing with the reference product, innovative product, that we need to prove in the this section, in formulation development section. And if my product is BCS class 1, then we need to perform the various multimedia studies. And then again, in some section 3 to P3, it will get manufacturing process, then excipients details, finished product details, specification, analytical procedures, justification of those, COA, certificate of analysis, and the main stability. So and regional info, if you have a CP grade material, that CEP certificate of some certificate is there, you can check even after the session in Eduquium. One database is available, that certification of suitability. So in that you can check what is my what is the revision of my API. Suppose paracetamol is there, if you put the paracetamol, and I have buy the paracetamol from Farmson, so Farmson had changed the CP or not. So we need to touch with such a certificates also. We need to include in those years. And module 4 is the pharmacology studies, pharmacokinetics, and preclinical safety data before human study. Conduct mainly non-clinical studies conducted in animals in evaluate safety before human exposure. And module 4 sometimes if my product is BCS class, no need for bioequivalence study, then that time we need to give the literature base, we need to give the BCS approach, BCS classification bio approach, why I am not doing the bioequivalence study. We need to check the market par, like public assessment reports, which who has done the bios or not. So get in touch with in a market product also, it's very important. And if I need to do the bioequivalence studies, how many subject, it's the CRO, clinical research organization will decide how many subject on how many days, how which dose. So this all info will go in the module 5. So basically it demonstrating that the product is safe and effective in humans for module 5. Now, CTD structure ensures a harmonized approach to regulatory submission globally. But the real challenge, lies in presenting high quality, consistent data, especially in Module 3, mainly changes in the Module 3, which drives most regulatory questions. So we take help of ECTD. So now let's look at the ECTD. ECTD is an electronic format that uses for common technical document as an XML backbone to organize and connect documents. It allows life cycle tracking. If suppose as an initial submission, I have done changes, initial submission are done, and later if agency asks me to do some specification tighter, that time I will get to know in ECTD what has submitted in 00 tetra 0, what has submitted in 0001. So I can correlate, yeah, this is the specification in tetra 0 and now this had changed. So it's about the ECTD. So in the market, various ECTD softwares are available, like Kio have, Pharma Ready, like Lawrence. they have different their formatting, or I say structure. Mainly it allows life cycle tracking and efficient review. uh, ECTD is not just a format, it's a system. How you will keep your data for longer time. So XML backbone defines folder hierarchies, connects all documents. Like folder hierarchies means tetra, as I said, tetra 0, 001, 002. If I get query again, then the specific section of those year agency had told me to change, then that section has to be updated. So in 002, that only that section will go, not complete dossier, not complete model 1 to model 5. Only at validation phase, mainly minus 14 validation phases, queries that comes sometimes due to error, due to system error, some files unable to upload. So at that time, that in 001, some only those section will go, not complete dossier. So it's a hierarchy. So, and it will connect to all documents. So mainly XML backbone acts like a map of the entire dossier, allowing regulator to, I will say, navigate efficiently between sections. Metadata data about documents, that will study type, submission type, document classification, keywords for search. Some, I think someone is on. Yes. He has mute, I think so. Metadata allows regulators to quickly identify and filter relevant information without opening every document. Hyperlinks, we can give the cross reference within the dossier, links between the modules, for easy navigation, reviewer efficiency. Hyperlinks improve review efficiency by connecting related data. If I want to give some specification reference in my, suppose in my section 3 to P53 validation data, so that time I can do the hyperlink in 3 to P51, like that. Life cycle sequences, as I already told you, life cycle sequences like initial submission 000 tetra 0, then response to validation query 001, then sequence go on. If no queries from agency, we get approval, but after some time during the life cycle management, we need to do some variation, that time 002, like that. And in the ECTD you can replace the file, you can create a new file, you can delete that file. It's depend on software to software. It's everywhere, it's they have a different systems, the way of format, but XML backbone will be the same. Each update in ECTD is submitted as a new sequence, allowing regulators to track full life cycle of the product from initial submission to post approval changes. So we can use the CCTD links to our different procedure like CP, like centralized procedure, DCP, MRP, support variation and life cycle management. Mm, Ma'am, next slide, please. So ECTD transport the CTD form to the static document into dynamic system using an XML bound lifecycle sequences. So main role comes as a regulatory professional, as a foundation. Uh, how we can compile the dossier, how we can start the before submission, how we start our work. Once my product is registered, sorry, my product is developed, that time from R&D batches to I need to R&D batches are like small, like 10 kg, 15 kgs. If a liquid product, if liquid product is there, then 1000 bottle, 1500 bottle. If solid dosage tablet is there, capsule there, 1000 tablet, 2000. But when we go for the engineering batches, or say scale up batches, or say exhibit batches, submission batches, that time if we go for the submission batches at GMP plant, UGMP plant or USFDA plant, that time we have to check the process transfer to manufacture, R&D to the manufacturing site, equipment adaptation, because in the R&D scale equipments are small, but in plant equipments capacity are different. Process optimization, critical parameter identification, we need, as a regulatory professional, we need to check all these parameters. Sorry. Actually, tech transfer is a bridge between development and manufacturing. It ensures that process developed in R&D, or process or product developed in R&D, can be consistently reproduced at commercial scale. As if we manufacture the exhibit batches, that time even we need to think, if commercial at commercial level, when I will produce this product, how that product can be, could be, like is there any change in the any process parameter, or critical parameters are changing, like any parameter testing like dissolution, disintegration, hardness, friability are changing. That time we need to check in exhibited batches only, submission batches. And based on those exhibit, in mainly for submission, we need the, you may have read in EMA guideline also, we need the for process validation, 3 batches are required, minimum 1 lakh or whichever is nearby. So 3 batches need to validated, and on the basis of 3 batches critical parameters, we need to prepare the process validation report, and that process validation report will define our module 3 drug product part. We need to give that critical parameters in our module 3. So that means those are the process confirmation batches. For the submission stability data, like we need a 6-month stability data for different conditions. If zone 2, then 25-degree long term, I will require 25-60. Then for accelerated 45-70, 40-75. If intermediate, if I need to go the other market, if I have planned market plan in ROW market, that time I need to even keep intermediate condition, that is 75, like that. In that validation, uh, we need to check all the equipment differences, batch size impact, process reproducibility, that my batch will go for, if I take the, if my batch, suppose my batch is 1 lakh today, and if I get the approval after 1 year, and if I want to produce my batch to 10 lakh, these process or these parameters are reproducible or robust or not, need to check. So so scaling up batch size, or increasing batch size, it can significantly impact product quality. So it must be carefully controlled and documented in our submission. So cross-functional review in factory QA, R&D review will has happened. But as a regulatory professional, writing from unverified, what I say, without signing document, and if we are referring to for our dossier compilation, is biggest mistake, I will say. Never compile your dossier based on unverified documents. So mainly. Why unverified data don't use, because sometime may change after QA review, data may change, deviation change control may not be closed, stability may not be may be incomplete, lead for major regulatory, so leads to major regulatory queries. So avoid these such things. So mostly take the signed data and then review and then compile the dossier. So flow will be like that: develop the product, then after product development go for the exhibit submission batches, and then when during the submission batches we need to review the different protocol, batch manufacturing records, batch packing records, process validation reports, in use stability data. If suppose in use stability means it's different than the regular stability. If you use my product is in container, in bottle, if 100 tablets in that container, and if for maximum daily dose is almost 10 mg, how my product that will remain in that bottle if it goes at patient level. So even that data we need to do for the submission, photo stability data, then different COS, finished product COS. And then once you get the corrected data, administrative data like UGMP certificate, different TSC, BSc certificates, nowadays nitrosamine impurities, elemental impurities, sometimes we need to check in CMDH or template or CMDH guideline, any is my molecule paracetamol is involved in nitrosamine impurity or not, agency has given such a limits or not. We need to continuously touch with EMA and ICH guidance. So then dossier writing, and while writing, how I will ensure my dossier will get the less number of queries from the agency, and then ECD compilation and the publishing, and then submission to the CMDH portal or various region portal. Next slide, please, ma'am. So already we have seen module 3 CMC, in that critical process control acceptance criteria for various parameters like disintegration, hardness, friability, what is intermediate control while the manufacturing those batches, why we have giving such a references or specification, we need to justify in dossier. So next is, once the product is approved, if suppose my product is approved, okay, and based on the dossier, any change which impact the quality of the product, it become a regulatory variation. It We need to file the variation for such changes which impact our, if our drug substance or drug product or specification or stability section is impacting, or process validation report or some parameters we are changing, that goes in variation. Next slide, please, ma'am. Sorry, excuse me. Post approval changes are any changes made after approval that goes for variation filing. But we need to classify those changes. Is it that change impact my quality, my quality of my product, or safety of my product, or efficacy of the product? So that we need to just to check. We need to check in post approval changes. Based on this, recently, I will mention first this. Recently, the variation guideline has changed in CMDH, like classification guideline for variation. In 15th Jan 2026, the variation guideline had changed from when we used to use 2013 or 23 version. Now they have recently changed. the variation guideline. First, we'll go to the what types of variation we can file depending on quality of the impact. So mainly in Europe, um, three types of, I will say, variation classification categories: type 1A, type 1B, and type 2. uh, Type 1A and 1B come under minor variation, and type 2 is a major variation, where in type 1A, the impact will be minor on your product. In type 1B, impact will be moderate, and if it's very significant impact in my quality of the product, that will go to the type 2 variation, where as good as type 2 variation means as good as a new submission. We need to what major has changed and how quality of my product is impacting, that we need to check. Type 1A is like do and tell procedure. Do and tell means if uh, whatever change has you do in your product, and then inform or to agency or notify to agencies where the impact is minor. In type 1B, tell tell to agency, wait for approval, and then do changes in your quality product, whatever in your product, in your medicinal product. So, correct classification is one of the biggest challenge in regulatory. How we classify that change, how we can fit that change in variation category. Uh, So suppose I will give you example for type 1A. Suppose some administrative changes has done. Change in MA holder, marketing authorization holder, uh, address, or but there is no impact on the my quality of the product. That can categorize as a 1A. If tightening of specification, if dissolution limit is 95 to, if suppose dissolution or assay limit is 95 to 105%, and I am tightening that limit, I am doing tightening means 97 to 103 within the limit, but tightening of the limit. So it improves quality. It will not impact your quality of the product. It will even give more control, more quality, more you will say content of the your drug substance to us. So it improves the quality, no risk. So type 1A. So these are low risk changes with no impact on the product quality, safety, or efficacy. Or other one aim we will, if yeah, CP revision had changed, drug substance manufacturer had changed the revision 1 to revision 02, but they have done only renewal. They have not done their drug substance any quality changes in their drug substance in API. Then in active pharmaceutical ingredient, they have not done any quality changes. So, as a drug product manufacturer or as a MA holder, that change is for me is minor. It's not major. They have only update their CP, and the CP, their dossier, their drug substance manufacturer dossier is already assessed by uh, EDQM. So just we as we are using X manufacturer API, that time just we need to notify that change to, as a drug product manufacturer, as a MA holder, to our agencies. That will come into 1A. And 1B, it's also minor, but tell to agency, wait for approval and do the changes. Minor impact but needs authority review before implementation in the drug product. if suppose my manufacturing process, if suppose after post approval I have manufactured the 10 lakh batch size product, and that time process parameters will going to change, because number of equipments or size of the equipment from 1 lakh to 10 lakh, it will change, right? Just a second, what happened to my screen? So that time, during batch sizes parameters will change, mixing time, and some parameters like rpm, like stirrer speed or anything will change, that we need to notify to the agencies. So it will go to the type 1B. In some in analytical procedure, if some HPLC method parameter change, some flow rate, some make up column, if I have already mentioned in the dossier that make have changed, so I need to notify to the agency. But I need to prove, I need to give the what is current, what is proposed, and what is justification for the my change. Why this is minor? Why this is not impacting my completely uh, during the I mean to say, we need to give the justification for those changes, and then submit those submission, submit those variation, I will say type 1B, and then get approval, and then you can implement to your product. So it is do, tell, wait, and do procedure. And type 2 is a significant impact. Full assessment requirement is required. Suppose change in manufacturing site. Suppose change in but nowadays change in manufacturing site or change in manufacturing procedure. If we are changing the complete procedure, if we are changing the some excipient, which impact the formulation, drug description of the drug product, or it changing the formula, that time that will come into the type 2. And nowadays, even earlier, they consider the if only site replacement or addition of the site into my same dossier without no any change, that will consider a 1B. Or sometimes change in a drug substance manufacturer, if it impacts impurity profile or quality of the product, change in formulation, that will impact definitely our product. Sometimes some do the therapeutic indication change in clinical part. That time that will, if it comes to the safety of the patient, that time we need to file type 2 variation. Type 2 means completely different. Sometimes need to do the repeat bio. If we are changing something, then if some formulation has changing, there is an impact on the dissolution, the major impact on the dissolution, some profiles, impurity profile has changed. So that time we need to take pause. We need to redo the work and then submit again under the type 2. Next slide, please. Yeah, I will quick go through for US system. It's majorly I have not work on US, but I will mainly compare the like how US and the EU post approval changes. Mainly US work take the guidance of SUPAC guidance, that scale up post approval changes, like in EU it's a variation guideline, and in US they as we submit in Europe, like classification based on type 1A, that will in US it's annual report. So mainly, and then type 1B, it's like is CBA 30. They have this pattern, and then type 2 it's a pass. Then means take before applying any, before doing any implementation, uh, take the approval. And then in so in U mainly a variation like that, type 1A, 1B, 2 in US is like annual report CB30 and pass. Yeah, in 1B nowadays, due to the change in the guideline, earlier we used to submit separate variation every time, separate variation. It like for if whatever changes I have mentioned, if some administrative change, I need to file that variation separately as a per MA holder per product. Uh, that time, those work is too much work for agency or MA holder. Now they have changed. They have modified the guideline. They have we can submit type 1A within the 12 month or within the 10 months time, but they have changed. As I am a one MA holder and I have so many products, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if those products are going for type 1A, so I can combine those all the variation in type 1 variation as a single file. So I can mention for different products. It's they have mainly changed these guidance. And earlier we used to give numbering categories like for any quality change, the numbering is there, category subsection like B3, B2. Now they have uh, uh, change, they have updated B to Q. Now if you will check variation guideline, that the complete category had changed, B to Q. So whenever you have to mention in the application form, so we need to mention that category, which category comes for which change, which category we can apply. So that time uh, we mm, we need to give now Q instead of the B. So category has mentioned for various, and some changes like they have done earlier, some changes for type 2, but they have work on that. They have updated to as a ML, you can submit those changes under the type 1B. Earlier, if shelf deletion of any parameter, if non-significant parameter, if in deletion of any insignificant parameter from finished product, if I want to delete thickness parameter, I have submitted thickness parameter in earlier initial submission, but now after post approval I need to remove that parameter due to some reason. So I need to prove the justification, it's a non-significant parameter, and for that reason I'm removing that parameter. And for such changes, they have some change, they have given some changes. You can go through that guideline. It's give a way, categorize in very well manner how they have mentioned if CP is if addition of CP, addition of site manufacturing site, if I want to extend my shelf life of the product, if when I get that, when I got the approval, my product got a stability of 36 months, suppose. Later words, in 1 year I got the data of 60 months. That time I need to give the extension for my product. That time we can file the variation 1B, or depend on how you can categorize. It's all depend on regulatory professional, how you can combine all the changes, how you can prove this is a 1B, 1A, or 2. So next, So broadly, I will say you uses this life cycle management and variation. Next slide, please. Uh, this almost we have covered. Yeah, life cycle management and variation. So life cycle management of the product means initial submission, variation, renewals. If renewals, we need to take the renewals of the product, and line extension. Line extension means if only one strand has I have submitted earlier, and now I have to introduce if another strand, that is line extension, that will give you. We need to submit those required data in that submission, and then post approval changes we have already covered it. Like how during site transfer, when if change in resolution limit or stability extension, we can categorize with various variation. So next slide, it's examples only. If as I said, we need to classify, we need to strategize framework for post-approval changes management, like if change in process validation parameter, if change in stability data, if we have 12-month data, now I have 48-month data that I can submit to agency, I take the extension of shelf life, some specification limit sometime changes that I need to notify to agencies. Then some I need to introduce new manufacturing site or size of the batch size, that also come under variation guideline. So overall, so broadly, I will say you uses the classification guideline, you uses the reporting category. They have different US categories. So successful life cycle management is not about the submission, it's about the strategy, how you submit your strategy, how you assess the risk assessment, and how you prove to agency how quality of the product is. And so that's the reason regulatory is becoming a very strategic function role. It's a dynamic role. And ECT is a life cycle system. Mainly model 3 is our critical quality part where we can focus. And AI is in a transforming regulatory work. So overall, it's a regulatory is a learning process every day. Still, I am learning after my 14 years experience. Still updating to regulatory, taking regulatory updates from various agencies. It's a completely every day. It's a learning process. You will come to know various difficulties how we can tackle. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Uh, and thank you, the Patil College, my principal, sir, Pallavi ma'am, Shilpa ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm glad that you guys have given me chance to share my experience. I will say not knowledge, but share my industrial experience. So I'm really thankful to you guys, and definitely all the participants will take some keynotes from each and every slides, at least some, and they can apply this experience in their day-to-day practice of regulatory career. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. So, we sincerely thank you for your insightful session and for sharing your valuable knowledge and experience in regulatory affairs. So, we'll start with the question answer session now. So, I'll just
Mm,
take some questions
Yeah, ma'am, I'm checking the question.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
there in the chat box.
Yeah.
So can I read out the questions?
No, I can take one by one,
Yeah,
or
yeah, no problem.
or any flow.
Yes, yes, no
Yeah.
issues.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Hmm, just I'm checking one question. Which certificates are useful for regulatory affairs career? You don't need the certificate. You have already your M.Pharm students, or you are B.Pharm students, or you have already scientific background. I will say no, any certification is required. You need experience in your regulatory careers. As I already mentioned in my slides, you need the fundamentals to be clear, how you can apply uh, your knowledge to actual product submission, how you can define, suppose if any student is M.Pharm pass out in pharmaceuticals, and but he need to join the regulatory field. Uh, that doesn't means he will require or she will require the certification. Nowadays, you guys are very lucky. You are getting this opportunity to learn in M.Pharm. I will say when I was passed out in 2007, that time regulatory was not in, even not quality assurance was not part of M.Pharm also, not regulatory affairs. Just we used to heard from our friends or colleagues or seniors that these are the department: production, QA, QC, or R&D. But you guys are very lucky that you are learning before going in the market, before going in. At least you get to know the theory of behind regulatory submission. You will get to know the what is the ECTD. When I have joined regulatory, that time I was literally not aware of the R regulatory. What is regulatory? What is dossier? That time, that so, but time had changed. You got a lot of opportunity. You have a lot of consultancy. They give the regulatory training for 6 months, 3 months. If you feel that will require for your growth, that definitely you can do the regulatory certification course. Different agents, different companies are in India also, outside India, in Europe also, or Topra, they are giving the doctor regulatory courses also. It depends upon you, or if you want to go directly into the field, if with fresher, as a fresher, uh, so many companies are taking the freshers also at regulatory level also, for the basic documentation checking. As I said, fundamental is the mainly CMC part. When you go through that CMC, once your upper hands on CMC part, that then you can go in any department, like regulatory publishing department or regulatory ECTD department. It's a various department are regulatory in also. It's not only submission part. In regulatory, some candidates are doing only CMC part. Some are doing module 4. Some are doing module 4. In outside the country, uh, they have some people like only for module 1. In India, we do the multiple tasks. That is no that is another part. But outside the India, lot of opportunities are there for variation. The different team is there for renewals. Different team is there nowadays. That identification of reference product or reference member, that is nowadays is booming in outside the country. So I don't feel every time certification is required. If you have a master degree, so you can get the degree, or if in market various certification courses are available. So what best suits for you, uh, that you can take further. So I hope I clarify your doubt, Miss Saloni. Next is we'll be taking. Oh, okay. um, mm, since fresher in RA primarily work with PDFs, what is the best way to develop the attention to detail needed to catch small data inconsistency or formatting errors in the dossier? Uh, yeah, you meant to say only PDFs property or content of the dossier or the what we are writing in the dossier? If you are mentioning here only PDF properties, what best way to develop the attention to the detail needed to catch small data inconsistency or formatting errors? In ECTD, normally already they give. It's depend on each and every software tools. They give the PDF property as per the guidance. So that hyperlinking sometimes we suppose one PDF is there, and if I have given that one hyperlink in that, and in that hyperlink, if that hyperlink is break one, so you before publishing, before in ECTD, before publishing, you will get one report. You can generate one report from same software, any software, whatever if you are using or your company is using, you will get the errors in that, in which section which error is there. On even nowadays they given page number wise also, on which page. Earlier we used to take some section, if pharmaceutical development report, that time the pharmaceutical development report is too long, so we need to check where is the exactly break of PDF or break of hyperlink. But nowadays they in inbuilt, it's in ECTD inbuilt is there. They give the page number wise, where is the what is exactly errors. So we need to resolve those errors. They usually you will get bookmarking or errors, like break page break errors, hyperlink errors, like that. uh, Next question: which international market hold the greatest potential for career growth this year? uh, I, I will say every market is even volatile and even potential. Here, uh, it's a different region wise, different requirements. How your product, how main you need to check the uh, potential of any product, like if any company is there, XNX, how they are doing in which regulatory market best. But every marketing is growing. It's not like that US is very high or Europe is high or other ROW, even ROW markets. People are doing very in Latin America, very huge businesses, huge career also. But depends, as I already mentioned in the session, that it depends on person to person, how, where you want to go, in which area. So, and for which market you want to work. But I will say at the start, as a fresher, whatever you can take for your future growth, take as an experience, do that work. If any market, if it is a Latin America, if it is ROW market, or it is a Turkmenistan, CIS countries, or US, then UK MHRA, then Europe. But if you get chance to learn all the market, it will be really helpful in your future growth, as you are looking that how market is changing, how due to digital transformation, everything has get changed now. So as a RA professional, we need to be the very in strategic role, multi-regional experience, I will say. You take multi-regional experience as a now I have in that situation that now I cannot go to the if I get chance, I will not go for any other market because I have European or some other ROW market experience. So it depends how in which market you want to do career. For me, from start it's Europe, so I will say I'm very fond of Europe market. It's versatile because every country has every different roles. And for US, they have fixed guidance. Like US FDA have their own setup, like own system. They have mentioned all the reference product. This is the reference product we have to use in Orange Book. They have already everything has mentioned very systematically. So US FDA has different criteria, and Europe has different. So it's upon you how to take further as a career, and how definitely I will say you go for any market. uh, Regulatory is very interesting and very learning procedure. Uh, so it's already some ma'am, Pallavi ma'am, if some question has already raised in this session, you can put me separately.
Yes.
We'll conclude this session. Actually,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Yes,
yeah.
no problem, ma'am.
If any student, any participant have any more question, you can connect via Pallavi ma'am. She can connect me anytime, no issue. I will definitely give my inputs.
Okay, then.
Is it
So,
okay, ma'am?
yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just conclude the session. So as ma'am has said, students, we have already noted down your questions and we will share with ma'am, and the answers will be again shared with you all.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
Mm.
So I would again thank Priya Bora ma'am for being the speaker for the webinar series. And I now request our organizing team to kindly share the e-certificate on this virtual platform with our respected speaker as a token of appreciation. Ma'am, please
Thank you so
accept
much.
it. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah. Thank you. Now, moving towards the conclusion, I would like to present the vote of thanks. On behalf of the entire team, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker for delivering such a valuable session. And I would like to thank all the participants for joining us and making this session interactive and successful. Finally, I thank all the faculty and everyone who contributed behind the scenes to make this webinar possible. We hope that the knowledge insight shared today will guide and inspire you in your professional journeys. Once again, thank you all for your time and participation, and we look forward to your continued support in our future events. Lastly, I request all the participants to kindly fill out the feedback form and attempt the quiz. The links are already shared with you on the WhatsApp group and the YouTube link. So I request everyone to kindly start their web cameras for a group photo. I request everyone to start their web cameras for a group photo. I request the organizers, once the photos are clicked, can let me know. Okay, then. Thank you. Thank you all once again and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am
you.
Shilpa, ma'am.
Thank you, Priya, for sparing time, and really it was very nice session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving
We'll be
chance,
in
and
contact with you.
Yeah, thank you
We'll
for
be
giving
excited.
chance, and definitely anytime if some need some like industrial experience to your students and from students regularly, so I will really appreciate your call to me. That really really thankful, and I really remind my 2003 and 2000 uh, 2003 to 2007 years of in DY Patil. So I'm very thankful for my college and my teachers and my professor. Thank you so much, guys, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you,
Shukriya.
everyone.
Thank you.